ramble.
Do it. Just do it.
But I think, what we're doing at Creative Con ultimately is helping people realize that no one is going to hand you the skill set, the tool set, the wherewithal, the determination, and most importantly, the discipline that it takes to actually be successful and create success for yourself. And we, myself and Karen, have created success for ourselves in a creative field, and then are now doing the same outside of that field, pursuing different paths, and the rest of the folks who are speaking at Creative Con are in similar positions in their respective fields. And I think it really truly can change the future of a lot of people who attend. So that's why I'm excited for it.
I like when you're excited, Tom.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen Tom excited.
I mean, this is me excited, right, Karen?
It is, but you did have a couple smiles in there, so I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different, it's like all of me is different levels of kind of vaguely serious. Just because I'm very kind of even keeled for the most part. Like, it's rare that I kind of get too up or too, like too excited or too upset about just about anything. I'm very kind of even keeled most of the time. But
I was here's a little brainstorm idea, Julie and Tom and Karen. Like in the swag bag, we're looking at doing QR codes with resources, and maybe like on the production promotion QR code is that it's on like a postcard that like on the other side of it is their permission slip to be real.
Oh,
like that it's like that, put your name here, this slip gives you permission to share all the good, bad, and ugly of you with the world, right? Like something, like draft something up like that, like just, and then on the other side is the QR code of all the resources that we're giving them from Creative Con.
I love that. I love that. And it's
a lot of times it's only us that stops us from doing that, right?
100%.
That's incredible, and that's powerful, because so many people aren't comfortable feeling and sharing with who they are, but that's the stuff that makes us great. That our vulnerability is what connects us to the rest of the universe, and people are afraid to do that for fear of judgment or shame, or that my story is so horrible nobody will understand it. But I can tell you, my story is so horrible. Heidi understands it, and Karen's going to understand it, and Tom's going to maybe understand it.
What's your story, Julie?
Oh, shoot. I'm on the spot. My story is one where I kept myself so contained, my light so dimmed, that I did everything I was supposed to do. Karen, I did everything I was supposed to do in terms of, let's go to school. Let's get our bachelor's degree. Let's get married. Let's get married at a younger age. Let's have all our kids. Let's get the white picket fence. Let's go to law school. Let's do everything to make sure everyone around me is happy, because I heard so many times as a child, you're too much. Oh, look at Julie. And I was standing in the line in 5th grade, and I just like prayed that somebody would come next to me and talk to me. And that was traumatic in a way. I know there's more traumatic stories, but always feeling like an outcast. I wanted to do everything I could to feel that I was included. And what did that end up with? That might have ended up with a divorce. That might have ended up with someone who doesn't practice law, that would kind of flounder around looking for herself. Not until I was 40 years old, I said, I am just going to be myself, whether you like it or not. And still I get those triggers. But now when I get those triggers of, look at Julie's going, as Heidi likes to call me, squirrel. When I'm that is when I'm in my flow state, and I know that's when the best things happen. Take it or leave it. If you like me, you like me. But I know I want to leave a legacy that is markedly different than the person I was 10, 20 years ago. That's my story. Thank you for asking.
I mean, that, first of all, congratulations that it doesn't really matter what age you came to that at, and all of those experiences made you to who you are today. So, and now, like when you're talking about leaving a legacy, how incredible. I mean, how incredible. And the other thing I wanted to say, to acknowledge, is the words flow state, because I love the flow state. I lived on a hamster wheel for decades. I am no longer on the hamster wheel. I live in the flow state, and that's where opportunities happen. So thank you for sharing that.
It's amazing. The hamster wheel is where we want to get everybody off of, I think.
Yeah. I was going to say to Julie, like deciding at your 40 to, to just be yourself. I mean, like, look, I wouldn't feel bad about that at all, because I'm 45 and I feel like I'm just starting to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I'm not even sure that that's not going to change 6 more times in the, in what I, in the rest of my life. So like, I think we're all given this perception when we're kids. And I think our parents, at least in my case, my parents did it, I think, very much to try to shield me and protect me from, uncertainty and fear and concerns. Like, parents don't share with their kids, nor do I think they should, like, really concerns about, like, if they've got financial concerns, being able to pay bills and stuff. Like, you shield your kids from those kinds of worries, right? But part of the thing that ends up doing for a lot of people is it ends up making you think that your parents have everything figured out. And then when you get older and you get closer to your parents' age, and you're still sitting there going, how did they have all of this stuff figured out? They were so together and I'm a mess. Like, you have to realize that they did not have everything together. They were just hiding it from you because you were a kid, right? Like, my parents, they've never confided in me that they didn't have things figured out. I guarantee that they did not have things as figured out as I thought they did when I was a kid, right? Like, it's just not
throughout the city.
It's just, nobody does, right? So yeah, I mean, there's this sort of myth we're all fed, or we all end up, or a lot of us end up with.
Well, we want to believe it. It just
Yeah,
our existence.
Right. Because then, like, you look up to your parents, right? A lot of us look up to our parents, and you look up to them, and you're like, yeah, I want to be like them. They've got it all figured out. They've got it together. They're on track with this. They're on track with that, right? Like, if you're fortunate enough to grow up, with parents who at least can portray that to their kids, right? But the truth is that they don't, and none of us do either. And it's all okay, right? It's okay to not have it all figured out, because no one ever will. And no one ever has.
Except for Heidi Dunstan.
Oh yeah, right.
She was born like having it all together. No, I love that, Tom. So thank you. And I mean, I think that's what we want to do, is give people those tools, the inspiration, the motivation. But no one's going to leave Cre8tive Con thinking that they're not going to be more confused when they walk out of those doors. They are going to have the people around them, and as well as the actionable tools and a community to uplift them to take the next step. That's what I guarantee.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cool thing too, that I'm excited about personally, Karen, about you wanting to get involved in this and wanting to be a part of it, is, until like literally right now, I was the only person on the slate that really had any background or experience in production. Right. So like, I was the only one that
No pressure.
Could speak to,
Or as I like to call it, videography, right, Tom?
but it's not videography.
Just
It's not the
kidding.
same thing.
I'm not.
You said mention the videographer story.
This is that's one word that he doesn't state.
Yeah,
even
I don't
keeled
say the
about.
V word anymore.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson.
Well,
He
it's
starts
so,
to twitch.
yeah. I mean, but it's and the thing I always try to say about that is, like, it's not that there's nothing wrong with being a videographer, right? But it is not a catch-all term. It's a very specific term, and it gets used in a catch-all way. And I'm trying to get people to understand that, like, it's doesn't mean what you think it means, right? And when you use it, like, you picture something very specific, and that's not what I do. It's not what Karen does, right? Or what Karen did do in production, right? It's not what I do now with a production company. But the idea, Karen, obviously, is like, on the main stage, we've kind of like drawn a line between sort of main stage and workshop. And the idea is that like the main stage is like the 30,000-foot view, inspiring people to kind of push further, sharing stories with them to inspire them to take on new challenges or approach things differently, or give them new frameworks to look at their creative work through. And then the workshops are opportunities for us to get a little bit more granular and get down on the ground with them and give them some practicable action items that they can actually take with them and start applying right away. And the thing, you know, I'm excited about is not only can you, like, you're really well equipped to do both, right? With your, you know, your expertise in coaching, right? And your qualifications there, you can really work to inspire people to push their boundaries and get rid of some of the limits that they've put on themselves from the main stage. But then we can collaborate on some workshop stuff that, you know, can really push people to actually do something, you know, on Monday after they leave the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that
go
sounds
I'm sorry,
incredible.
Karen.
No, just saying it sounds incredible. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I interrupted, so I apologize. And I did read over your bio and everything. I saw that you're an ICF coach. And part of the thing we want to do is connect people with coaches like you. So the learning does not end on February 18th, 2024. See you there.